Today we're going to talk about Sanguinius' bodyguards, why they're the best elite choice in the Blood Angels Codex, and why that Azkaban rule is so freaking awesome. And we will be right back. Hello again, Tabletop Warriors, and welcome back to the Plague Den. My name's Tony. This is my continuing video series where we explore the 40k universe one model at a time. As I alluded to earlier, today's model is the Sanguinary Guard. They are really good, probably the best elite choice in the Codex. I'm going to give you 5 tactics and tips on how to use them in your Blood Angels army. We're going to talk synergy, we're going to talk 2 wounds, we're going to talk weapons. If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing for more videos just like this one, and we are going right at it. Rolling out number 1, points. For 140 points, you get 4 Sanguinary Guard, not 5. 4 Sanguinary Guard. Anything above that is going to cost you more points, and if you're playing power level, obviously more power level. If you would like a 5/5 model that's not part of the unit, my recommendation is going to be the Sanguinary Ancient. We're going to talk about him a little later and how he works and what he provides to the unit, but the base unit size is 4 models for 140 points. You get 3+ weapon skill, 3+ ballistic skill, 4 toughness, 4 strength, 2-up save, and 2 wounds. So 2 wounds is a big deal. That's a lot. That's 1 more wound than they used to have in previous editions. As an elite choice, as an infantry choice, they do come with jump packs, so you get to use all the stratagems and stuff, and we'll talk about that and how it works with their jump packs. So 140 points, kind of expensive, kind of almost into the Terminator price range. You don't get an invul save, not quite as expensive as Terminator, but we will talk about a way on how to get them that 5+ feel no pain to roll with their already 2+. So you could look at a 2+ save plus a 5+ feel no pain. So they don't do real well against high AP weapons because they don't have an invul save. You're only going to be relying on that 5+ feel no pain if you decide to give it to them using some of the different rules. But for 140 points, I think that's pretty good. The big thing to remember is you only get 4 models. Number 2 is going to be your weapons choices. You get 3 choices of melee weapons. You get the Incarmine Sword that they come stock with, you get the Power Fist, and you get the Axe. To me, the Axe is right out. +1 strength, -2 AP, D3 damage. I think I would much rather have the -3 AP than the +1 strength. Plus you're already getting the +1 wound from the Red Thirst on the charge. So to me, it's between the Incarmine Sword and the Power Fist, and I really think you want a combination of both, and I'm going to tell you why. One is the Power Fist is usually going to wound, but it's also not always going to hit. And you can't wound if you don't hit. So hitting is probably the most important thing, followed by wounding. And when you add in the Red Thirst, you're adding the +1 to wound. So it makes more sense to take the Incarmine Sword, but the Power Fist is probably better for more high toughness models. So I would say a combination of both. So if you're taking 4 models, I would say to have more Incarmine Swords than you do Power Fists, but that gives you some flexibility on the units that you go after. So you want to be targeting your Terminators or your monsters or even some vehicles. If you have Power Fists, stay away from the tar pitting units because your D3 damage is kind of wasted on 1 wound models. So anything that has 2 or plus wounds, that is your target because you're probably going to roll at least 1 damage, probably maybe even 2 and 3 damage. So you want to be targeting things that you're getting the most bang for your buck out of. So in answer to the weapon question, I would say that it's a combination of both. The other thing is the pistols. The Angelus Bolt Gun is a 12-inch range Assault 2 weapon. It's not as good as a Combi Bolter. It is good, it's just not as good as a Combi Bolter. So if you want to spend the extra points to say put an Infernus pistol in there or a Plasma pistol, I think that's a good choice, especially if you have to do another round of combat. Infernus pistol to the face is pretty devastating if you're fighting a multi-wound model. Also, it gives you an opportunity to clear some more things out of the way with the Plasma pistol or say the Infernus pistol. So I think those are both good choices. They're both good upgrades. It just depends on the points that you want to spend and what you want to get out of them in terms of those upgrades. Now, the Death Mask is another thing. That's not part of the base points. You have to put it on all of them. I think it's good to do if you are going to play the morale shenanigans game. So if you're trying to make your opponent or you know you're going up against somebody with low morale, it's good to take him. If you're not going against somebody with low morale, it's probably a waste of points unless you're going to use some other strategies or whatever. So if you're going into the fight knowing, hey, I'm going to try to get him to fail as many morale tests as possible, death masks are great. If not, I wouldn't spend the points on them. Again, as I've talked about in my previous videos, make sure you have a plan, make sure you roll with your plan. It's good to know who you're going to go up against, or at least what your meta is in your local area before you make those choices. Number 3 is going to be their special rules. So they have 2 special rules. They have the death mask rule, which -1 to morale for enemy units within 3 inches. It's good, like I said earlier, if you want to play kind of some morale games. There's a stratagem, I think, that increases that range out. And if you want to do that, or you think you're going to fight armies with low morale, that's something you want to do. But remember, it's extra points and you have to give it to the whole unit. The other thing is the Heir of Ascalon, which allows them to reroll hit rolls if they're within 6 inches of the Warlord. Now, this is the one that you can really kind of exploit out because it provides a lot of synergy. So if you want to take Slamginius and use him as a lead-in for your charges, because you can make him into where he can't be overwatched and they can follow him in, he's really good, but he doesn't provide as much synergy as, say, a Jump Pack Priest would, who now is not only giving them the rerolls to hit, but he's giving them the extra 1 to the strength. So think about what you want to do here in terms of how do you best synergize that Warlord trait. Now remember, whatever unit you put with them, if you're going to try to use that synergy, you have to make it your Warlord because it only applies to the Warlord. And then your Incarmine Swords really doesn't make a difference if you take Power Fists or not, because you're getting to reroll all of your hits. So it makes a little bit more of an argument to take Power Fist because you get to reroll all of your misses, but Incarmine Swords are still going to hit more even with you rerolling all of your hits. So think about that and how that synergy works in terms of who you want to put with them as your Warlord to take the best advantage of the Heirs of Ascalon rule. Number 4 is going to be synergy with the other models that are within the Blood Angels Codex. Now, as we talked earlier about the Sanguinary Ancient, he is the standard bearer. He's kind of like a 99-point sergeant. He gives them +1 to their leadership. He gives them, they only have an 8 leadership, so giving them +1 to their leadership is pretty good. He kind of, like I said, kind of acts as the sergeant. It also gives them the opportunity to reroll 1s on their wounds. And he has Heirs of Ascalon. He has all the weapon systems that they already have. He already has the jump pack. So he's kind of just like them, but he provides some bonuses as the standard bearer. Additionally, you could take the Standard of Sacrifice, which gives them, as I mentioned earlier, the 5-up Feel No Pain, which is a huge deal. So adding him in with the Standard of Sacrifice gives them a 2+ save plus a 5-up Feel No Pain, which is pretty good. I know that I talked about in number 3 the Captain and the Priest as a Warlord, but also you could make the Librarian a Warlord, so you could give them Unleash Rage. You could not put the Warlord with them and put a Chaplain with them and a Librarian. So there's all kinds of things. I would encourage you to look at the Codex and kind of explore these different HQ options and how they work with the stratagems and how they work with the spells and what their bonuses is to make the best choice with getting the most out of it. All kinds of different ways to synergize special characters or regular characters, librarians or chaplains or even captains, with these guys to make them even that much better. You could put a couple of models with them and make it even a bigger unit. Figure out ways to get the most synergy out of these guys. And what I've given you is just a couple or 3 different points. There is a whole bunch of different combinations that you can use to get more out of this unit. And if you want to add more than 4, if you're up to 5, 6, 7, and then you add in a couple of characters, you get up to, say, a 10 model blob that you jump in on the jump pack roll and just go to town. So think about that. Number 5. Number 5 is going to be the stratagems that you can use to provide more flexibility and synergy with these Sanguinary Guard. Behold the Golden Host extends the range on the Death Mask. On the Wings of Fire, you can, before your movement phase, you can set them up 9 inches away. Infantry unit or jump pack unit 9 inches away from an enemy unit, just like they jump packed in. You can use the one that gives you 3d6 charge range as opposed to 2d6, the Descent of Angels rule. So there's all kinds of stratagems that you can use. I encourage you to get into the book and look at how they work with not just the unit, but with the characters and HQ choices and warlord choices, the relics and all those things together. This unit, more than probably any other one in the codex, is the best for synergy and comboing off of. There's 5 tactics and tips on how to use these guys in your Blood Angels army. I think that the big key to them is synergy, 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 making the most of your stratagems, making the most of your characters and HQ choices, making most of your sanguinary ancient and your relics and your spells and all the things that go along with it. So I've really, as I said before, just kind of tipped the iceberg on some points that you can use to make these guys better. But getting into the book and really studying these combinations is going to make your army that much more. I'm going to link a video here on how to use scouts as your troops, so you can go all in on Sanguinary Guard points wise and make them big units. I think those are your 2 kind of big elite infantry choices, Sanguinary Guard and Death Company. I'm going to do a Death Company video later on, but I think these guys are really good for what you're getting out of them and for all the things that you can do to make them better. They are rock stars. They're nasty when they come into combat. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Comment down below and tell me how you're using these guys in your Blood Angels army. What kind of success have you had with them? Is there some things that I'm not mentioning here that you would say is a good tactic and tip to use? Subscribe for more videos from the Plague Den. And on a side note, I've been trying to use some pictures of the models that I've been doing in my videos that I kind of picked up on Facebook. So I've asked the different groups in Facebook, hey, I'm going to be doing this video on this model. Can you guys send me some pictures and I'll include them? So if you're interested in that, I'm going to try to put out on some of those Facebook groups to say, hey, what video I'm doing next. And then I have a email address. It's theplagueden@gmail.com, and you can send me some pictures for that next video and I will include them. Please make sure the models are painted though, and try to have somewhat of a good background, because people like to see good pictures and you like to show off your models. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know. If you have an Instagram or whatever, or if you do commissions or whatever, I'll certainly put your link in the video. Just let me know. So until next time, win all your battles in life and on the tabletop, and I'll see y'all later.